A factor is a number that can divide a given number without leaving a remainder. A factor, it is a number that can divide a given number without leaving a remainder. For example, let's look at factors of 30. Factors of 30. So if we are saying factors of 30, it means we are looking for numbers that can divide 30 without leaving a remainder. We are looking for every number that can divide 30, but without leaving a remainder. So the first factor for 30 is 1, because 30 divided by 1, it gives us a 30. So 1 is a factor of 30. And in fact, 1 is a factor of every number. 1 is a factor of every number. So whenever you are asked to list factors of a given number, so we want to see your factors starting with 1, because 1 can divide any number without leaving a remainder. So 1 is a factor of each and every number. So the next factor of 30 is 2, because 30 divided by 2, it gives us a 15. So it means 2 is a factor of 30. Then the next factor is 3, because if you take 30 and divide it by 3, you are going to get a 10, and 10 is a whole number. Then the next number that can divide 30 is 5, because 30 divided by 5, you get a 6. Then the next factor is going to be 6, because 30 divided by 6, you get a 5. And so on. Just look for numbers that can divide 30, but without leaving a remainder. Look for every number that can divide 30 and without leaving a remainder. So now let's look, for example, factors of 20. Numbers that can divide 20 without leaving a remainder. So like I said earlier, 1 is a factor of every number, because 20 divided by 1 gives us a 20. Then the next factor is going to be 2, because 20 divided by 2, you get a 10. Then the next number is going to be a 4, because 20 divided by 4 gives you a 5. And so you continue listing and finding them, all numbers that can divide your 20 without leaving a remainder. Now, let me give you a clue, the quicker way to find all the factors. The quicker way to find all the factors. Now, let's take still the same example, 20. And then let's look for all factors of 20. We said the first number is 20 divided by 1. 20 divided by 1, you get 20. So which means the first factor is 1. And the other factor is going to be 20. Because when you divide 20 by 1, you get a 20. So it means 1 is a factor of 20, and 20 is also a factor of 20. Because you can divide 20 by 20 and get a 1. So which means 20 is a factor of 20. So the easier way to do it is, whenever you divide your number by that number, so always write the two answers that you get. For example, what I mean is, we are looking for factors of 20, and we are dividing 20 by 1. So it means the first factor is 1. the first factor is 1. So 20 divided by 1, we get a 20. So I was saying the easier way to get all the factors, whenever you divide by 1, write the answer, because that answer is also going to be a factor of 20. Then let's do the same thing. Let's take 20 divided by 2. So which means our next factor is 2. 20 divided by 2 gives us a 10. So which means 10 is also going to be a factor of 20, because you can divide 20 by 10 and get a 2. This 0 is going to cancel that. Then 2 divided by 1, you are going to get a 2. So it means 10 is also a factor of 20. So write both numbers. Then the next factor is 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4. I skipped 3 because you can't divide 20 by 3. If you divide 20 by 3, you're going to get a decimal. So remember, we want to get whole numbers. So 20 divided by 4, it gives us a 5. Which then means 4 is a factor, and the answer that we got is a 5. I don't know if you get what I mean. Doing this will help you to get all your factors at the same time. You won't struggle, and you won't skip, you won't leave any factor behind. So I'm saying the number that you are dividing with, or the first factor that you are dividing it with, write it together with its factors. So after doing this, you can see that you have arrived at all the factors of 20. All the numbers that can divide, 20, which are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10. There's a comma here, 10 and 20. So I'll repeat this point. 1 is a factor of every number. 1 is a factor of every number. And also the number that you are given is also a factor of that number as well. So we are looking for factors of 20. So it means 20 is also a factor of 20. We want to see it there. So the number that you are looking for, its factors, it is also a factor of itself. Then let's do another example. Let's do 30 again so that I can stress that point that I wanted to make. So we are saying 1 is a factor of every number. So which means 30 divided by 1, you are going to get a 30. So which means 30 should be in the list of your factors. Because when you divide 30, if you divide 30 by 1, you get a 30. So it means the 30 has to be there as well in your list of factors. Then the next factor is 2. 30 divided by 2, we get a 15. So it means you write your 2 there, then you write your 15 there. You write the factor together with the answer. Then you do the same thing. Take 30, divide it by 3. 30 divided by 3, you get a 10. So it means you have a 3 here, then you have a 10 there. So 30 divided by 3, you get a 10. So which means 10 is also a factor of 30. Then you do the same thing. 5. The next factor is 5. 30 divided by 5. 30 divided by 5, you get a 6. So it means we are supposed to get a 6 there. So by doing that, writing your factor and the answer that you get after dividing with that factor, it makes life easier for you. At the end of the day, you have quickly written all the factors all at once. So that's the quicker way of finding all the factors. And remember what I just said, which is very important. 1 is a factor of every number, and the number that we are looking for its factors, it is also a factor of that number. So in this case, we are looking for factors of 30. So it means 30 is a factor of 30 again. So I'll do the last example. Let's take 16. the first factor is going to be 1, because I said 1 is a factor of every number. So 16 divided by 1, you get a 16. So write your 16 there. Write your 16 there. Then we look for the second factor, which is 2. 16 divided by 2, we get an 8. So write your 8 there. Then we look for the next factor. 16 divided by 4. I skipped 3 because you can't divide 16 by 3. You're going to get a decimal as well. So 16 divided by 4, you're going to get a 4. 4. So from what I see, these are the only factors of 16. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Numbers that can divide 16 without leaving a remainder. And like I said, 1 is a factor of every number. And 16, the number that we are looking for its factors, is also a factor of itself. So wrapping this up, I will remind you what I just said. I said a factor is a number that can divide a given number without leaving a remainder.